the inspector turns up. Mr. Burling, of course, as we said the other day, says, oh, they must be here for a warrant. They can never be here because I'm the one in trouble. He doesn't think he can be in trouble because he has all this power. Okay. Our focus today, please, is capitalism. Add it down. And secondary focus is corruption. Okay. And we spoke about this the other day. Corruption is when people misuse their power to get more power. Right. Gerald, please. You ready for this?
Eric's probably been up to something.
Good.
And that'll be awkward, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so he says it's probably Eric. He's been up to something awkward. Remember, they're talking about the idea of this scandal. So, like, maybe your foolish, drunken son has done something stupid and got into trouble. Again, our favourite word, foreshadowing. Eric has done something pretty bad that gets revealed as the play goes on. But yeah, and notice here, like, lightly, right? So it's all joking. It's like, ha ha ha, we can never possibly be in trouble. Very. I was with my Eric. Yes, remember Eric, Zach? Thank you. Remember, you're sort of drunk and belligerent. Nice and loud, please.
Yeah, what do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean, eh?
Only something we were talking about before you came in. A joke, really.
Yeah, a joke, really. Eric?
Well, I don't think it's very funny.
What's the matter with you?
Nothing.
Edna opens the door and announces, Inspector Gould. And now we talked about this at the start, right? So we mentioned the idea that it's supposed to sound like a ghoul. That's the spelling of it there, which is a ghost, a type of ghost that causes chaos, right? And haunts people. If you have a ghoul sort of in your house, it's just moving things around, mucking things about. But it's a really good symbol of what he represents. Just something to cause them discomfort. Look at his description. You can use this stuff, right? The inspector enters and Edna goes out, closing the door behind her. The inspector need not be a big man. He doesn't have to be big, physically big. But he creates at once an impression of massiveness, solidity and purposefulness, right? So he is a power source, right? He's not a weak guy. He doesn't have to be big, but he has presence, right? He's not come to mess about. He is a man in his 50s. Sorry, ladies, he's a man in his 50s, right? Dressed in a plain, darkish suit of the period. He speaks carefully, weightily, and has a disconcerting habit of looking hard at the person he addresses before actually speaking, right? Sound like any of your teachers? It's a little trick that we do. If we want to make you feel uncomfortable, we just look at you and then speak.
That's what Mr. Payne does. He just stares at you and then he speaks.
And then speaks.
5 minutes later.
Yeah, that's because we all trained in the Inspector Gould school of intimidation, right? But he does this thing where he just stares at you, right? So there's an idea here of sort of trying to, I'm going to put here, interrogate, add this down please, interrogate and intimidate. We okay over there? Yeah, we used to being stared at a little bit? Yeah. Right, Inspector, you ready for this?
Mr. Barley.
Good evening, Inspector. You're new, aren't you? Like this line. You're new. What does that mean? It means you're new, but it's sort of a bit of a power play, right? It's like, oh, I don't know you, aka I know everybody, right? So there's an idea here of this being like he knows all the police, but he doesn't know this guy, right? So you're new, aren't you?
So,
Yes, sir. Only recently transferred.
Yeah, go on.
where's the line where he goes, I don't play golf? Where is that?
That's coming up. That's coming up.
Oh,
Right.
what is that? This?
Yes.
Oh,
Well, come on, no spoilers, please, about the golf, right? Yeah, so he's transferred. So yeah, he is new, but the idea here is that essentially Burling has no influence. He has no influence over this guy, right? He hasn't bought him, and he's trying to say like, I'm a big deal, so be careful what you say to me. I thought you must be. I was an alderman for years. An alderman is like an old version of somebody who's on the council. It's a politician. I was an alderman for years and Lord Mayor 2 years ago, and I'm still on the bench. So this is just a bit like this. It's like, look at me, right? I was an alderman, I'm on the bench, I was the Lord Mayor. So this is all about his status. He's basically, it's a bit of a power play, right? I am a big deal. I'm a big fish in this Brumley pond, right? So I thought I knew the Brumley police officers pretty well. And I thought I'd never seen you before. He doesn't need to say any of that, does he? But what he's doing is he's saying, respect me, right? Know your place. I'm a big deal, right? I was an alderman, I was Lord Mayor, I'm on the bench. Now, to be on the bench means that he's involved with the courts, right? You do what I say. I have power over you. Inspector. Yeah, so he doesn't play ball, right? So he essentially ignores what Burling says, right? He can't be bought. Yeah, sit down, Inspector.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Have a glass of port or a little whiskey.
No, thank you, Mr. Burling. I'm on duty.
Yeah, I'm on duty, right? Have a glass of port with whiskey. So again, there's an idea here of trying to make it casual, right? Have a seat, have a drink. And he says, I can't drink, I'm on duty. It is illegal still to this day for a police officer on duty to drink, right? There's a point here that he is serious. So straight away we've got a nice juxtaposition here, right? Between Burling's casual nature and the inspector's serious nature, right? I'm on duty. Well, what can I do you for? Some trouble about a warrant?
No, Mr. Burling.
Yeah, no, Mr. Burling, right? Some trouble about a warrant. Now, a warrant is something that you need to arrest somebody. So he's like, do you need my help? No. He's getting impatient. What is it then?
I'd like
Nice and loud, please, man. Nice and loud.
I'd
Yeah.
like some information if you don't mind. Mr. Burling, 2 hours ago a young woman died in the infirmary?
Infirmary, yeah. It's a place where, well, for people who are infirm. So she was injured and then she's died.
She'd been taken there this afternoon because she'd swallowed a lot of strong disinfectant. Burnt her inside out, of course.
Yeah, so she drinks bleach. So this is designed to be quite shocking and quite brutal. So notice he says something quite brutal in a very sort of calm tone. He goes, "Oh, I'm here for some information. 2 hours ago, a young woman died in the infirmary. She'd been taken there this afternoon because she swallowed strong disinfection, burnt her inside out, of course." So there's a sense, yes.
What does that say about brutal?
It says shocking, brutal. There's an idea here that she's killed herself. That she's drank bleach to kill herself. She's burnt her insides out, right? Now, I'm going to highlight this one because there's an idea, of course, in this society that you don't speak like this, right? That we don't say things that are truthful. We sort of go, it was a terrible accident happened. You might sort of obscure the truth to protect people's imaginations. He doesn't do that. He just says she burnt her insides out with bleach. Eric, this shocked you, right? Burnt her inside out, of course.
My God.
Oh my God.
Yes, she was in great agony. They did everything they could for her at the infirmary, but she died. Suicide, of course.
Yeah, so that's confirmed here. Suicide, we don't really use the word anymore because suicide links to it being a crime. Side meaning to kill, sui meaning self. So to essentially self-kill. For a long, long time, for the vast duration of this country's history, suicide has been a crime because in a religious, I know it seems weird, but in a religious society the belief is that your life is given to you by God, and then the person who takes away your life is God. So to kill yourself is a crime against God, and they used to historically punish the families of those who killed themselves. Nowadays, we think of it more as being a mental illness. So we don't really use the word suicide because it suggests that the person killing themselves is a criminal. But it's used in this play because it's an old-fashioned play. So I would always use the term to take your life or to kill yourself. Okay, but she kills herself. It's on purpose. It's not an accident. Yes, horrible business. But I don't understand why you should come here, Inspector. Right? He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Now notice the difference between his reaction and his son's reaction. Right? Eric cares. Difference in reaction. Eric really cares. So Eric sees somebody in pain and goes, "Oh my God." Whereas Mr. Burling's like, yeah. Right? Yeah, it's horrible business. But what's it got to do with me? Right? I don't know how you should come here, Inspector. Now Inspector cuts him up. So I read it, man, you got to interrupt me, okay? I don't understand why you should come here, Inspector.
I've been round to the room she had, and she'd left the letter there and sorted the diary.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these young women who get into various kinds of trouble, she'd used more than one name. Now her original name, her real name, was Ava Smith.
Yeah. Eva Smith, right? So we've got a letter, we've got a diary. So these are the evidence that he's using. So he says, like a lot of these young women, to get into various kinds of trouble, she used more than one name. So there's an idea here that she's probably quite poor, and that she has had to escape from many things in her life, right? So she's changed her name quite a lot, but her original name, her real name, is Eva Smith, right? So she's a bit of a shapeshifter. She's somebody who has a very sort of, I'm going to put here, an unstable identity. Eva Smith, thoughtfully.
Do you remember her, Mr. Darling?
No, but I seem to remember hearing that name, Eva Smith, somewhere. But it doesn't convey anything to me. And I don't see where I come into this, right? This is always his response, right? It's always about himself, right? I don't see what I'm involved, right?
She was employed in your works at one time.
Yeah. So she worked for him, right? She was employed in your works at one time. Oh, that's it. Oh, that's it, is it? Well, we've had several hundred young women there, you know, and they keep changing. Great line for him, right? They keep changing. So there's an idea here that this is what he thinks about his workforce, right? That he simply doesn't see them as people, does he? He says, oh, there's loads of them, they always change, right? What, I'm expected to know their names now, am I? Right? We've had several hundred young women there, and they're always changing. So this to me is embarrassing, right? Because, again, she works for him, and he doesn't know who she is. He goes, oh yeah, there's loads of them, right? Loads of them. What, I'm supposed to know all their names, am I? It also gives you a sense of how big his business is. Inspector. Nice and loud, please.
This young woman, Eva Smith, was a bit out of the ordinary. I found a photograph of her in her lodgings. Perhaps you'd remember her from that.
Right, so this is one of his things that he does. So he has a picture. So he shows the picture. But what he does is, he doesn't let everyone see it. He shows one person at a time. The inspector takes a photograph about postcard size out of his pocket and walks towards Burling, who is now standing. Both Gerald and Eric rise to have a look at the photograph, but the inspector interposes himself between them and the photograph. So they can't see. They are surprised and rather annoyed. I want to see the photograph. Why can't I see the photograph too? Burling stares hard and with recognition. So he recognises her at the photograph, which the inspector then replaces in his pocket. Gerald.
Okay. Any particular reason why I shouldn't see the girl's photo, Inspector?
There might be.
Yeah.
And the same applies to me, I suppose.
Yes.
I can't imagine what it would be.
Neither can I.
And I must say, I agree with them, Inspector.
It's the way I like to work. And one
Go on.
and
One person.
sorry, one person and one line of inquiry at a time. Otherwise, there's another.
Max, you okay? So, yeah, now what this here is about power, right? They are not used to someone telling them what to do. I want to see the photograph. Why can't I see it? I think I should be able to see it as well. I quite agree with them. No, I'm in charge here, right? I decide who looks at the photograph. You don't, right? It's a power play. It's a power battle. They are not used to being told what to do. So all of this here is an idea about their privilege, right? When a policeman tells them something, they're like, I should be allowed to do what I want because that's what I always do, right? So it's about power, and it starts to piss them off, right? They don't like it because they're not used to it. They're used to always getting their own way. I see. Sensible, really. Moves restlessly and turns. I think you've had enough of that pour, Eric. So there's a sense here that he realises that this might be serious, that he wants his son to stop drinking, right? There's a bit of a threat potentially going on with this inspector. The inspector is watching Burling, and now Burling notices him.
I think you remember Eva Smith now, don't you, Mr. Burling?
Yes, I do. She was one of my employees. She was one of my employees, and then I discharged her. What does that mean? He sacked her, right? He fired her, right? So he fired her. So he remembers now. Look how blunt his statement is, right? Yeah, I remember her now. She was one of my employees, and then I discharged her. Eric.
Is that why she committed suicide? When was this, Father?
Just keep quiet, Eric, and don't get excited. This girl left us nearly 2 years ago. Let me see. It must have been the early autumn of 1910.
Yes, end of September 1910.
Good, so it was 2 years ago. So Burling thinks to himself, okay, well, it's not my responsibility. You can't blame me for something that happened 2 years ago, right? That's right. Gerald.
Look here, sir. Wouldn't you rather I was out of this?
Yeah, so he's worried about about this being embarrassing. He says, shall I go? Is this going to be something you want to keep a secret? I don't mind you being here, Gerald, and I'm sure you've no objection, have you, Inspector? Perhaps I ought to explain first that this is Mr. Gerald Croft, son of Sir George Croft, you know, Croft Limited. So again, he's doing more power play, right? In other words, this is an important person. Don't mess with us. Inspector.
Mr. Gerald Croft?
Yes. Incidentally, we've been modestly celebrating his engagement to my daughter Sheila.
I see. Mr. Croft is going to marry Miss Sheila Burling.
I hope so.
Then I prefer you to stay.
Oh, alright.
Oh, right. I prefer you to stay. So he is involved somehow. Look, there's nothing mysterious about this business, at least not as far as I'm concerned. It's a perfectly straightforward case, and as it happened more than 18 months ago, nearly 2 years ago, obviously it has nothing whatever to do with the wretched girl's suicide. Hey, Inspector, look how he talks about her, right? He calls her wretched, right? Wretched. So he dislikes her, right? They have had in the past a friction. Hey, Inspector?
No, sir. I can't agree with you there.
Why not?
Because what happened to her may have determined what happened to her afterwards. And what happened to her afterwards may have driven her to suicide. A chain of events.
Good, right? This is one of our key quotes from this book. Okay, a chain of events. So yes, sure, she didn't commit suicide because of what you did, but you started the chain. Now, the idea of this is the idea that everyone is responsible. Everyone is responsible. Oh, well, put it like that. There's something in what you say. Still, I can't accept any responsibility. Because this is classic line. I can't accept any responsibility. If we're all responsible for everything that happened to everyone, we'd have anything to do with, it'd be very awkward, wouldn't it?
Very awkward.
We'd be in an impossible position, wouldn't we? Wait, look at this. Before we turn over, look at this here. So look at all these, right? These suggest that he is stuttering, right? That he is somehow worried, right? So his speech is like that. Eric.
By God, yes. And as you were saying, Dad, a man has to look after him.
Yes, well, we needn't go into all of that. Go into what? Oh, just before you came, I've been giving these young men, a little good advice. Now, about this girl, Eva Smith. I remember her quite well now. She was a lively, good-looking girl. Country bred, I fancy. And she'd been working in one of our machine shops for over a year. A good worker, too. In fact, the foreman there told me she was ready to promote her into what we call a leading operator, head of a small group of girls. So, let's look at this right. She's a lively, good-looking girl. She's a good worker. They wanted to promote her. But after they came back from the holidays that August, they were all rather restless. And then suddenly decided to ask for more money. They were averaging 22 shillings, which was neither more nor less than is paid generally in our industry. They wanted the rates raised so they could average about 25 shilling a week. So they want a 3 shilling pay rise.
So how much is that actually?
I'm not sure. Let me work that one out. I always do it and I always forget. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. What I would say to you is for him it's very small. Okay. Notice this, right? I refused. Of course. Obviously I refused, because if I pay them more money, I will make less money, right? So this is bad for profit. Inspector.
Why?
What? Did you say why?
Yes. Why did you refuse?
Well, Inspector, I don't see there's any concern of yours how I choose to run my business, is it now?
It might be, you know.
Oh, I don't like that tone.
I'm sorry, but when you asked me a question,
And you asked me a question before that, quite a necessary question too.
it's my duty to ask questions.
Yeah, that's a good quote for the Inspector, right? Well, he's winding him up, right? Well, it's my duty to keep labour costs down, right? It's my duty to keep labour costs down. Notice the word duty, right? Like I have to do it. I have to. Well, it's my duty to keep labour costs down. And if I'd agreed to this demand for a new rate, we've added 12% to our labour costs, right? So 12% to our labour costs. Does that satisfy you? So I refused. Said I couldn't consider it. We were paying the usual rates. If they didn't like those rates, they could go and work somewhere else, right? It's a free country, I told them. If you don't like it, go work somewhere else. Now this, of course, is without unions, right? So no one's setting the standard. The employer chooses what the pay is. Eric.
It isn't if you can't go and work somewhere else.
Like so.
Yeah. So he sort of rebels against his dad here, right? So he stands up for her. He says, well, you can't just go work somewhere else if there's no other work. Look, you keep out of this. You hadn't even started in the works when this happened. So they went on strike. That didn't last long, of course. Okay, so we learn about strikes. They went on strike. That didn't last long, of course.
Not if it was them. Not if it was just after the summer holidays. They'd all be broke, if I know them.
Yeah, so notice this, right? So this is a little bit of of his prejudice. He says, oh, you know, working class people, they can't keep hold of their money. They went away for summer, they spent it all. Right, Gerald, they mostly were. So was the strike. After a week or two, pitiful affair. Well, we forgave them. We let them all come back at the old rates. Right? At the old rates. Except the 4 or 5 ringleaders who started the trouble. I went down myself and told them to clear out. And this girl, Eva Smith, was one of them. She had a lot to say, I remember. Far too much. She had to go. Now what's funny here is that all Eva Smith has done is tried to look out for herself and get more money, and yet he's fired her. So he's doing the very thing that he says people should do, and she's fired. So she's fired for being ambitious. Right? Everyone else is let back, but the leaders are sacked. Gerald?
You couldn't really have done anything else.
Yeah, so he's in agreement, right? You have no choice. You have to get rid of her. She's a troublemaker. Eric?
He could have kept her on instead of throwing her out. I call it tough luck.
Yeah, so again, another little bit of rebellion from Eric, right? Now, Eric, of course, is going to inherit this business. Rubbish! Rubbish! If you don't come down sharply on these people, they'll soon be asking for the earth, right? Meaning they want everything. So you've got to come down sharp on them, right? You've got to treat them brutally, crush them. Gerald?
I should say so.
Spencer?
They might, but after all, it's better to ask for the earth than to take it.
Ooh, right? It's better to ask for the earth than to take it. So he suggests that the capitalists are thieves, right? It's better to ask for the earth than to take it. What did you say your name was, Inspector?
Cool.
Ghoul? How do you get on with our Chief Constable, Colonel Roberts? So again, we have another power play here, right? So like, I know your boss, right? How dare you speak to me like this? Inspector?
I don't see much of it.
Perhaps I ought to warn you, he's an old friend of mine, and I see him fairly frequently. We play golf together sometimes up at West Bromley. Go on. Go on.
I don't play golf.
Yeah, right. So he deliberately misunderstands, right? Deliberately. He says, oh, I don't like playing golf. And what he's doing is he's saying, I know your boss and I'm going to tell on you if you don't treat me with more respect. Oh, I don't play golf. I didn't suppose you did.
Well, I think it's a damn shame.
Spencer?
I've never wanted to play.
Eric?
No, I mean about this girl, Eva Smith. Why shouldn't they try for higher wages? We try for the highest possible prices, and I don't see why she should have been sacked just because she's a bit more spirit than the others.
Yeah.
You said yourself she was a good worker. I've let her go.
Yeah, good. And so what he does here, he highlights the hypocrisy. Oops.
So is this like when the inspector is showing them what they've done themselves?
Yeah, he's starting to do it, yeah, right? So he says, we try for the highest prices, why shouldn't they try for higher wages, right? So he says, you're a hypocrite, Dad, right? Like, she's doing the very thing that you believe in, and you fired her. You're a hypocrite. Unless you brighten up your ideas, you'll never be in a position to tell anyone stay or tell anyone to go. It's about time you learn to face a few responsibilities, right? Ironic, because he doesn't do it. That's something this public school and varsity life you've had doesn't seem to have taught. Okay, public school means private school. Eric?
Well, we don't need to tell the inspector all about that, do we?
I don't see we need to tell the inspector anything more. In fact, there's nothing I can tell him. I told the girl to clear out and she went. That's the last I heard of her. Have you got any idea what happened to her after that? Get into trouble? Go on the streets?
No, she didn't exactly go on the street.
Yeah. So on the streets is a euphemism for turning to prostitution. Because when a woman has no prostitution. Yeah, so when a woman runs out of options in her life, the last thing that she can sell, of course, is her body to men who will pay for it. So he goes, oh, what did she do then? She go and become a prostitute, did she? Not exactly. I'll tell you what happened next. Right, well done.